It is. Bunch of burned Christian villages from those
we stand united
ISIS and Al-Qaeda rebels
who've been targeted by terrorists. From a school in Pakistan.
Exactly right, Chikari. After we went to those countries, we can point with pride to the fact that even though they allowed Christians in these predominantly Muslim countries for centuries, after we went there, they've been totally expunged, and now you see these atrocities being conducted on Christians because of blowback.
Yeah.
And that's by design.
At the same time, we've learned some costly lessons over the last 13 years.
We don't know what we're doing.
Instead of Americans patrolling the valleys of Afghanistan,
so keep on funding them.
We've trained their security forces, who've now taken the lead. And we've honored our troops' sacrifice by supporting
Brought
that
all of our
country's
weapons
first
with them.
democratic transition. Instead of sending large ground forces overseas, we're partnering with nations from South Asia to North Africa.
We accidentally dropped supplies off to ISIS and said we didn't know anything about it.
Yeah, we dropped a box full of grenades over there.
In Syria.
Pallet full of grenades.
American leadership, including our military power.
Is he going to put up that stat about how many innocent people they killed with their drone strikes? Oh, I don't think so. Probably won't have that up there, really.
We are leading.
Yeah, I think you made that report, didn't you, do about all the drone strikes and the kids? That's a good report.
We've got a lot of these drone pilots now that are claiming PTSD, so now they want to make these drones fully autonomous so they can take that human emotion away so they can kill more people.
Yeah.
And assisting people everywhere.
And robots don't get carpal tunnel syndrome.
Yeah, exactly. So they don't have to worry about passing out Purple Hearts to the drone.
It will take time. It will require focus. But we will succeed. And tonight I call on this Congress to show the world that we are united in this mission by passing a resolution.
Yeah, there you go. More people died with drones than on 9/11.
We need that authority.
And they need to authorize the use of force against ISIS. They're droning,
degrade and destroy ISIS.
Arming them and training them and giving them weapons, and then
they always sell these things as surgical strikes, and yet, even by their own statistics, there's far more innocent civilians that are killed than targets of interest. And that's not even to say they're targets of interest or valid targets in the first place.
Oh, yeah, I mean, I can vouch for that 100%.
Yeah, we're never allowed to question that.
So many times they kill so many innocent people for no reason. And then half the time, the target that they're going for isn't even in the building.
Yes, yes. And then, of course, Joe, was that a valid target in the first place? Who reviews that?
Yeah, exactly.
We don't know. We don't even know if the target was even valid to start with, besides all the innocent people that were.
Yeah, that famous video from WikiLeaks, I believe it was a helicopter shooting down the crowd, and there was a couple journalists with their cameras. And then the guy pulls up with his kids in the car, and they shoot at the guy with his kids. And they're like, well, he shouldn't have brought his kids to a war zone. He lives in a freaking war zone. It's not like, he lives in Austin. He can just drive down I-35 to Houston or something.
Right.
He's bragging about how they're pushing us to the brink of World War III. And, of course,
he's pushing us to that.
Yes, exactly. Talking about what he's doing in the Ukraine.
Such a success.
And, of course, that is necessary. And that's the other part of this manipulation of the price of oil. It's not just to get rid of domestic oil production, but it is also to prepare for war because they're concerned about the global economy not coming back.
Yeah, now he's talking about Cuba. But he knows the Russians are trying to get friendly with them again, so he wants to swoop in there first.
When what you're doing doesn't work for 50 years, it's time to try something new.
Hey, we can apply that test to our own government and just about every one of the aspects that they're doing.
Their government hasn't changed at all. It's just the...
It removes a phony excuse for restrictions in Cuba. Stands up for democratic
waterboarding people and not getting any valuable intel for years hasn't stopped him from continuing to do that.
Could he make that same metric with the war on drugs? Hey, if it ain't working for 50 years, it's time we stop and do something else.
Yeah.
Yeah.
As His Holiness Pope Francis has said.
He's always going to quote the Pope.
Diplomacy is the work of small steps. These small steps have added up to new hope for the future in Cuba. And after years in prison, we are overjoyed that Alan Gross is back.
Again, you're listening to our Prison Planet live coverage of the State of the Union. If you're not a Prison Planet subscriber, please consider supporting our operation. We have a special right now, $29.95. That's just $2.50 a month. You can share that now with 20 other friends. That works out just 12 cents a person per month. And it's a way that you can support this operation here. And of course, we have the nightly news every Monday through Friday at 7 Central.
And we put out 2 free streams today, one on INFOWARS.com/show, and then another one on our YouTube channel. And so if you're watching these on any of those, it's a great way to help support what we're doing, get the equipment here, get reporters in the chairs, send reporters out in the field. We do it with all your support, so we really do appreciate it at prisonplanet.tv, and it's a great deal right now. This is the best deal we've ever had for Prison Planet.
And I keep all options on the table to prevent a nuclear run.
They had the...
They do. They just had the all-seeing eye as part of their monitoring program. There it is, right there on the bottom right-hand side.
Unprecedented transparency.
The all-seeing eye.
Monitoring.
We will monitor the program.
We will hijack
I guess that's the NSA is watching them, right? Is that the,
Please step into your health booth. Thank you for your service.
Starts up its nuclear program
This is Watson.
Doesn't make sense. And that's why I will veto any new sanctions bill that threatens to undo this progress.
Oh, there he's talking about his veto.
Yeah. Wait a minute. Wasn't it just recently that we used Stuxnet to hack these guys, and now we've got to protect them? I mean,
he just completely flip-flopped.
Oceania was our enemy forever, and now East Eurasia.
We're looking beyond the issues that have consumed us in the past.
He just flip sides.
He is definitely the president of change, that's for sure.
No hacker.
And we need the hope.
Shut down our networks, steal our trade secrets, or invade the privacy of American families.
Well, it's not so much these foreign people I'm worried about hacking me, it's the domestic ones.
Yes.
The NSA and all your merry men.
Aaron Schwartz pointed that out, that virtually all the hacks were funded and the exploits created by our government for their use. And of course, it was the CFAA, which he is the Computer Fraud and Abuse Act, which he wants to expand. He wants to change things that were misdemeanors into major felonies and apply the RICO statute. So we're going to talk about the implications of that when we do some analysis.
Oh, so he's going to, smartphones, vehicles. You were talking about that last night, I think, David.
Vehicles,
electrical grids. And even back when Clinton was in office, they were warning about putting all of our infrastructure on the internet. They said, do not do that, and they did it anyway.
We'll leave our nation.
Yeah, what's the plan B for when we do have some sort of a solar storm or hackers take down our infrastructure, our entire
Why don't you ask
economy?
Michael Hastings about being hacked?
Yeah.
Well, you can't.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
West Africa, our troops, our science.
We were just watching Jurassic Park again the other night. And the point they get into the electric vehicles and start going, and they have steering wheels that they can't control. And Travis said, this is not going to work out good. we know how this movie plays out. We've seen it in Jurassic Park. It's going to happen in real life.
Are the number of new Ebola cases declining, or are they just hiding the actual cases that are out there?
Exactly.
And the world needs
reported Ebola cases are declining.
Effective global effort to prevent the spread of future pandemics, invest in smart development, and eradicate extreme poverty.
And exactly what did they do to keep it from spreading? I thought they brought sick people back here and did not follow quarantine procedures.
U.S.-led efforts for containment.
What did that guy say, Biggs? We went to that press conference and he was like,
I'm just going to stick my hand in this bowl of Ebola. And I'm just going to rub it all in this Ebola.
Like,
if I don't have a cut in my hand, I'm not going to get it.
Zero.
And then the next day, like,
zero chance.
People start getting sick and falling out dead and all kinds of stuff is wild.
It's not like when you sweat your pores open up in your hands and kind of take something in. It's not going to happen. That's crazy. Yeah. There's zero chance.
I mean, how crazy was it that Ebola was everywhere and then literally stopped being reported on overnight?
And no thanks to them, because they followed no procedure.
Now here it comes
violated all the protocols. Yep.
Now, 1 year doesn't make a trend, but this does.
See, this is the thing. He said he's going to do this without the Congress because he's got the EPA to work with him. He's got his executive orders. He's got the EPA's bureaucratic regulations that they create, which supersede the laws of Congress because Congress isn't doing anything. So this is why some of his stuff this year is really more important than typically, because he's not going to follow the usual checks and balances of the Constitution.
And here, Mark Moreno of Climate Depot, we're talking about 1/100th of a degree. It's not even, you can't even actually measure it. So
and only 38% said that they thought it was heating.
Yeah,
so
it's
not even a consensus.
Yeah, Drudge, a couple of days afterward, they came out and they said, we're really disappointed in how they reported this because it's only 38% accurate. So 60% of the time, it's right.
And these wildfires are burning U.S. acres because they don't allow people to take care of their land.
That's right.
They have all these federal areas set aside that they don't let people set up fire berms. There's all kind of things you can do to take care of your land to mitigate wildfires, but they don't let anybody onto the land.
They don't let you take out standing dead trees. They don't let you take out falling dead trees, and that's why these areas like Yellowstone burn so quickly, why Bastrop, just outside of Austin, burns so quickly. And then they come back after the fact and tell people in the communities, clear out the dead wood that's fallen on your own property, but they won't do it on the lands that they control.
That American leadership drives international action.
This picture of this woman, this young girl trying to breathe, it was just today that we had another revelation of the EPA putting diesel fumes, feeding diesel fumes directly to children, what was it, 10 to 17 or something like that. In California, we've already reported on how they did that in North Carolina to adults they'd selected for people with respiratory and heart conditions, and the EPA gave them levels that were more than 70 times what the EPA said were fatal. They fed that to them.
And then they were doing it on young.
But don't put a fire in your fireplace to heat your home.
That's right.
That's damaging to the environment, but we're going to just go ahead and make people breathe diesel fumes.
Yes.
And call it a scientific experiment.
That's the example of our values. As Americans, we respect human dignity even when we're threatened.
Oh, boy.
Which is why I have prohibited
Unless you get hit with one of our drones.
Okay, now hold on. He's talking about torture. It was my understanding before he got elected, he was going to shut down Guantanamo Bay and all these other horrific practices. And now we even have Dianne Feinstein, who I'm not a fan of at all. She's paying lip service to it. But even she's talking about these torture reports now.
The Obama administration and the Justice Department did everything they could to keep everything that the CIA had done quiet. He is always looking for things to blame on the Bush administration, but he will cover for everything that the Bush administration did in terms of CIA torture. They did not want any of that to come out, even though we got a highly redacted report. The only reason we got that was because the CIA got Dianne Feinstein and her staffers angry because she found out they were spying on her.
Yeah, that's fine when they spy on us, but I think it was like a CBS interview. It's just like a drone was looking at me. I'm like, oh, I'm sure it didn't want to.
And it was a little slap on the wrist, basically, of the torture report. Like, here you go. Here's just a little taste of what they were doing.
Yeah. And then they wrote their own report and said, we exonerate ourselves.
Right. They had a huge website rolled out the very next day.
To spend $3 million per prisoner to keep open a prison that the world condemns and terrorists use to recruit.
We're 6 years into your administration. Why don't you close it down?
Responsibly to cut the population.
He says it every year.
He's got that pen. All he's got to do is sign the paper.
You got your pen and your phone, and, you know, Air Force One.
Do something, guy. You got the pen and paper. Let's go.
He's been trading prisoners for.
It's still Bush's fault. You know, apparently this late, second term, it's still Bush's fault that Guantanamo Bay is up and running.
We got to close it. I'm just going to keep on releasing all these
I'm going to say that every year
guys.
that it needs to be closed and not close it.
6 years in, still using that.
If we want maximum cooperation from other countries and industry in our fight against terrorist networks. So while some have moved on from the debates over our surveillance programs, I have not. As promised, our intelligence agencies have worked hard with the recommendations of privacy advocates to increase transparency.
Yes, they have the recommendations of privacy advocates that they have completely ignored.
Country safe while strengthening privacy.
How are you strengthening privacy?
For themselves.
We put whistleblowers in jail.
Oh, okay. All right, yeah.
They make privacy about what they're doing a lot more stronger. What they do is they just spy on us.
Yeah.
To meet new challenges
and convince us we don't
I'm
need
from the
privacy
government. Don't ask me any questions.
This is the part where he's going to pretend that they're going to put restrictions on corporations sharing your data, when in reality he's pushing for the Cyber Intelligence Sharing Protection Act again, CISPA for the third time. That's the reality. He's trying to give the same corporations legal immunity if they share your data and spy on the government for them and share their data with the government.
Just over a decade ago.
Right. Wants to encourage them sharing with the government.
It wasn't a liberal America or a conservative America.
And for those of you who watched the nightly news tonight, we played that 11-minute clip from some of Alex's movies in the early 2000s. Martial Law, Rise of the Police State 3, Total Enslavement, and then a little bit of Police State 2. He was talking about everything that's going on right now back then. Even before that. That's
Right.
just he just happened to put in a documentary by then.
Yeah, he was talking about the surveillance blimps, and they just launched the first one that's going, just this year, they launched the first surveillance blimp that's going to be looking right into your home.
Yeah, but the general that's overseeing the project says, I promise you,